you thinking about starting a pet sitting business? Whether you envision having a side hustle or a full-time gig, I'm going to share 7 things you should do early on in the process to make sure it is as successful as possible. My name is Shannon, and I've been pet sitting for about 10 years, and along the way I have learned a ton and stumbled across many valuable resources. I hope that by sharing them with you today, no matter what stage of the process you're at, they will prove to be helpful. Side note, if you're a pet parent, not necessarily a pet sitter, there are a couple of resources on here that will benefit you as well. The first tip is the most obvious. Actually start pet sitting. It is so important if you're interested in potentially being in an industry to go get your feet wet in that industry. This will allow you to figure out how it works, if you like it, what clients are after, what potentially could be missing in the market that you could offer. I think it's really important in the beginning when you're searching for jobs not to limit yourself. So you could do many things to look for them. You could sign up on one of the apps like Rover or Meowtel. So those are specifically for people looking to provide cat or dog sitting services, and also you can join as a pet parent looking to hire a sitter. I actually made a detailed video about my experiences on Meowtel. If you would like to check that out, I will link it below. Other great places to look for work are like neighborhood Facebook groups that would be specific to your area. I belong to several, and I've seen so many people post about needing a pet sitter, about a pet sitter canceling last minute and they're desperate to fill in that role. Nextdoor is another good resource kind of for the same idea. Keeping your eyes and ears open just in your regular day-to-day activities. I actually did get a pet sitting job once on my co-ed softball team that I'm a part of, just because somebody had been mentioning that they had a sitter who canceled last minute and they were desperate. The point is, you never know where the jobs will present themselves, so it's really important not to limit yourself at this stage. Once you do get a job, the thing that will keep you going is word of mouth. So give the very best possible service to each client you encounter, and they will pass your name along for you. The second step that I would take is I would join pet sitter Facebook groups. So I was unaware that these existed until I'd already been pet sitting for quite a while, but there are many groups geared toward pet sitters of all types. So there are groups that are like pet sitters giving advice to other pet sitters, sharing their stories, experience, tips, asking business questions. There are Facebook groups for people looking to hire pet sitters or for people looking to advertise their service as a pet sitter. There are both local and international groups, so you can join your local area, or you can join a national group or international group where people all over the world share ideas. There's actually a Facebook group I found, which I wasn't even aware this was a thing, but it's basically traveling pet sitters, and so there are people who, when they go to another state or country, they specifically look for a home to stay in for free in exchange for watching someone's pets. So on this site, people are constantly posting like, I live in Italy, I'm looking for someone to stay in my home from like January 1st through the 10th with my 2 cats. If you're interested, let me know. With the Facebook groups, kind of like when you're looking for jobs, I would not limit myself to one particular type. I personally belong to a bunch of them. They are specific, some of them to my area, some of them to my interests. There are a couple of private groups that you actually have to be a member of a certain organization or publication in order to get membership. Why is this so important? It really gives you an in-the-trenches view of what it is like to be a pet sitter because you are hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, all different experiences. It gives me constantly things to think about that I never have. And especially the ones where it's like pet sitter to pet sitter communities. People, the questions they ask, the things they're thinking about, they're really inspirational, or they give you ideas for your own business, or you can learn from their mistakes. So it's really just a form of education, and it's free, so there is no reason not to do it. My third tip is to check out 2 specific websites. Both of these websites are for organizations that you can actually pay to join. However, at this stage, I do not think it is necessary to pay to join them. I still, however, would absolutely go to both of these sites and spend some time browsing around to learn 1, about the organization, 2, what they offer. There are also free resources on both sites, such as downloadable materials. So, what are these sites? The first one is Pet Sitters International. Of the 2 sites, I personally find this one to be a little bit more helpful in terms of the number of resources and what you can learn just simply by the free browse. And the second one is the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. Now, something that distinguishes this organization from the first one is that if you are a pet parent, you can also join NAPS. you cannot join Pet Sitters International as a parent. That is exclusively for sitters. If you're curious about joining, there are benefits to being members on both sites, and a lot of those benefits center around reductions in, for example, the cost of materials. They have some courses you can take, they have some resources available for purchase, and you do get a discount as a member. You also have discounted access to insurance for pet sitters, and also if you do have a full-fledged business or a website or something, you can use their logos to kind of advertise that you're a member, which just looks more professional. I know that Pet Sitters International is $150 for the year, plus a $5 application fee. But let me give you a tip on this one if you decide to join. If you download before attempting to join one of their free resources, what they did for me is they followed up almost instantly with an email saying, "Thank you for your interest. If you do decide to join, let us know and we will provide a discount code for you." So, of course, I let them know I'm interested in joining, and they did email me back with a code that would save me $15 off my first year of membership. So that's not something I would have known had I not tried to first download the resource, so just pro tip. My fourth tip is I would begin listening to the Pet Sitter Confessional podcast. Now, this is not the only podcast out there for pet sitters. I'm not even necessarily saying it is the best one. It is, however, a great one, and I'm most familiar with it. It also seems to be updated extremely regularly, covers a ton of topics related to owning and operating a pet sitting business, and is really relatable in how it's presented. Podcasts, of course, are free to listen to, so there's absolutely no reason not to do this. While you're searching for pet sitter podcasts, you can certainly check out any of the others. It's also helpful to look on YouTube for videos. You can go on Instagram too and search for pet sitter accounts, but I am a big fan of doing free research through podcasts, social media, and really anything you happen to stumble across. One great thing about algorithms today is once you start looking for this content, they're really good at suggesting other like things. So once you get going, you'll probably have another 10 suggestions of excellent things to check out. My fifth tip is to begin thinking about your branding. So if you're unfamiliar, branding is essentially the look and feel and style of your business. So this includes everything from the colors you use, the logo you have, kind of the language, just the feel. Someone once told me that if you close your eyes and think about a business, the first few adjectives that pop to your mind are essentially what its brand is. So you want to put conscious thought into this, and this is a great time to just begin thinking about what would you call it? What in your mind do you envision that logo looking like? What type of color scheme would you want to use on your materials? I personally would go onto like ChatGPT and maybe ask it to suggest some business name ideas for a business that has like certain style characteristics and see what it comes up with. I might search on GoDaddy for available domain names or sites like Instagram for available handles that kind of center around names I'm considering to see maybe one is taken and one isn't. One program that I would like to recommend, which I think is amazing, is Canva. Now, Canva is a program that you can join for free. There's also a pro version, which is really reasonably priced. But even if you just get the free version, there's just so many uses. You can design posts for social media. There's a million templates. You have access to little video clips, to professional looking photos, to really cool fonts, to colors, to designs. Beyond the social media posts, there's website design stuff. You can design logos super easily on Canva. You can create things for printed materials like t-shirts or mugs or like water bottles or tote bags or gift cards or holiday cards, business cards, like literally any printed thing you would want for your business, any online branding. It can all be done there. I would definitely just go to Canva and kind of check it out, see what you have access to as a free member, maybe play around with some of that. I know with a lot of the templates or with a lot of the photos, it will tell you must be a pro member to use this one, but you'll at least get to see what it looks like, so it can kind of give you an idea about value. One amazing thing about Canva is you do not have to be like a really good graphic designer or something to use their materials and make them look great. The sixth thing I would do is begin learning about pet first aid. Now, there are courses all over the internet offered by a variety of different sources that you can take and actually get a certification in. Most of them are really quick and easy and cheap, honestly. They range from about $25 through the Red Cross, I believe, to I think one of the ones offered by the association, which is a lot more complex and in-depth, costs $99. And then there's everything in between. But if you're not ready to put the money into taking a class like that, that's okay, because you can go onto YouTube and still search for pet first aid videos. I would definitely watch at least a couple of them about really, really important stuff like what to do if a pet is choking and or CPR, and get that basic knowledge. It is something that's good to have whether you're pet sitting or pet owning, and really with the fact that so many resources are out there, easily accessible and free, there's no excuse not to do it. The seventh and final step I would take in the earliest stages of considering opening a pet sitting business of any type is to think about insurance. Now, the reason I say think about it is because this is actually a complex topic, and I wouldn't buy a policy when I'm just beginning to plan, but I would be aware of the fact that you're absolutely going to need to buy a policy and kind of educate myself from the get-go about what that involves, what it costs, and what your options are. So, the first thing to know is that pet sitting insurance is very different from insurance that you would buy from a company like State Farm or whatever for your home and auto. So there are actually companies that offer insurance specifically for pet sitters to protect you and your business. And that is who you will buy the policy from. There may be more, but I know that there are definitely at least 4 that are really well known. Now, what a policy entails and what it costs varies completely depending on what you have on that policy and where you are from. But to give you a rough idea, about $250 to $500 a year. So this is not something that's going to break the bank, but it could absolutely save you. Essentially, it's meant to protect against accidents, illnesses, or property damage that may occur while you're on a job. If something like that happens and you're not insured, that client could come after your business or yourself, and that could be really, really expensive. While starting a business, there are some costs that are more negotiable. This, in my opinion, is a non-negotiable. I would 100% absolutely have it. It is much better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. One side note to be aware of is if you do sign up to be a pet sitter through Meowtel or a site like Meowtel or Rover, when you are on jobs, I know this for a fact on Meowtel, when you are on a job booked through the Meowtel app, adhering to the Meowtel policies, you are covered by Meowtel's insurance. But the second you go out on your own and begin taking jobs, and especially if you turn this into like a fuller-time busy thing, you want that policy, and it will just help you to not be overwhelmed to learn about it now. So there you have it, guys. Those are my 7 tips for things you should do in the earliest stages of considering starting a pet sitting business. Again, I think these tips are applicable whether you plan on doing just a very part-time side gig or a full-time, full-fledged business. These are things that are good to know about, resources that are good to check out, and just stuff that's good to educate yourself on. Of course, this is not a comprehensive list. There's a lot of other things you can do. It's a great idea to network with other pet sitters, attend pet events, just generally keep your eyes, ears, and ideas open. I will say that I really believe there's a lot of opportunity out there. It is definitely something where it could be as small or as large as you want to make it. There are people who are very, very part-time supplemental pet sitters and they love it, and they have very specific niches. So for example, they will only do cats, or they will only do exotic small animals, or they will only do overnights in houses, all the way up to like a full-fledged business that has multiple components, multiple services, multiple employees, and is continuously growing and exploring new opportunities, and everything in between. At this stage, you might not know which direction you want to go, and that is completely okay. That is why it is so important to go slow, educate yourself, and never, ever, ever stop learning, because that is going to be so important to having a growing and thriving business. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so grateful. If you have any questions about my pet sitting experience or something that I mentioned in this video, please drop it below. I would be happy to answer. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.